So, welcome back to our 14th session. And yes, Nate, I did the math. This is our 14th session.
I have a spot in my notes that says no session, but I labeled it as a session. So,
Get
yeah.
it. Okay. Anyway, welcome back to our 14th session. As I have a question for you guys. Because in our last session, we tracked down and eventually found the giant named Gendo. However, we
Gato.
left his small camp in the late morning to early afternoon, and he told you to return at dusk. You guys are about just under 2 hours away from the inn. So the question is, would you guys like to return to the inn and spend a few more hours there and then come back? Or are you just wanting to travel a little ways out, set up your own camp, discuss, make plans, and then return?
Does
You left
anybody
your
have?
horses there, right?
What was that, Jade?
We left our horses there, right?
You left your horses back at the inn, yes.
That's the only reason I can think of, and I don't think we need them. So
Does anybody have the
Who-
sending stone to contact the professor?
not I.
I thought somebody did. I don't remember
I
who.
believe Thomas is
I
the one who
Think
has it.
I do.
Makes sense if Thomas had it. If
Alright.
Rikus had it.
Let's just walk in that direction, and if in a conversation with the professor, if something comes up that we decide we need to grab something from the inn, we'll already be walking there. I think, but
It shows up on my home screen, so I looked at it.
I don't reckon if he wants us to be like honorable and strength and all that, like I don't really feel like ambushing them would be a great idea.
No.
Maybe
And you never know. We might be able to talk our way through this thing.
I think
Somehow
we could
I
beef up
doubt
one
it.
of our guys. Do
Appreciate
you think we could beef up? Sorry, you go ahead.
I was saying that I doubt we could talk our way through it, but I appreciate the sentiment nonetheless.
Oh, you never know.
we seem to be a pretty amicable party.
Yeah, I get along great with the Horde.
Why do I feel like you actually murdered like half of them?
But because he did.
What? No. why
When
would you say
in the
that?
service, there's a saying called "Don't ask, don't tell." Wait, that's a different rule.
I think that was your weekend leave.
Yes, you're right. No, the phrase is, it's not a war crime if it's the first time. And it wasn't the first time. There's just no crimes against the hordes. So
It's not.
I
if you're not-
personally did not.
Funnily
know
enough,
of any
most of the
attacks?
senior alchemists during the war that were active during the war also say something similar to that.
I think that's where the saying came from, my lad.
Oh.
Are you talking about the ketchup gas?
No, I'm talking about the placebo potions.
Ah, yeah. I was more on the East Coast during this period, but word gets around.
Well, it was alright until other people started making their own versions and things started getting out of hand. But, if you two are still here, then you're probably fine.
Well, I wasn't as part of the war as he was. Speaking of which,
Yeah, he fucking ran away. Oh, wait. Broke
What?
came back.
orders.
Speaking of
Fucking
someone
deserter.
experienced in war, I was gonna pump up your ego here, brother. If you would take a second. I was thinking that
I can take all day. Go ahead.
I was thinking that it might be beneficial, and this is just a suggestion for us to think about. if instead of all of us attacking a whole horde of them, that if it truly is supposed to be a short battle to make a show of power, to make a show of strength and honor in the eyes of this moon giant, that perhaps only one of us should make a duel, and we make sure to give as many blessings and his items and, yes, as many buffs to this one person as we possibly can in order for him to win before the battle starts.
And who's to say that the Horde has a shaman and gives them plenty of
But
enhancements?
would they be expecting it? We could prepare in advance.
Exactly, and I believe that we do have access to a surmountable amount of resources that it would, I believe, be pretty formidable. Though I don't have an experience with the hordes as a whole, so.
What if
DM, do I know how commonplace like shamans and such are among the Horde?
I would say Linen and Rikus. If you guys want to give me a history check, you're welcome to.
Woo!
Okay.
I would not
I
think
just-
anyone else to be
Bonk.
well researched into the Horde.
13. I didn't roll well.
Okay.
I've only ever had like Rikus has only ever had very, very, very small interactions
Yeah.
with the Horde.
And
S-
even
This
then,
specific Horde,
most
but
of,
even then, any of the Hordes.
most of his interactions with the Horde were not necessarily fully negative, as most of them would have been during the time of the Gith-Yankee War, in which they were on the
Yes.
same side as you.
Yes. Yeah. Hold on.
I'm holding on to my riches.
That's pretty good.
Oh.
30-20?
So in terms of having a shaman, the rigid horde in particular is not exceptionally known for having any spellcasters. Shamans, clerics, paladins, anything. It's not.
Linen, where's your roll?
It was
I
a
did
13.
roll it.
He's above you.
Oh. I didn't see it.
It's not necessarily an impossibility, like it certainly is possible. But you would say it's pretty unlikely that they were to have some kind of shaman. You would know that blood duels are definitely not uncommon with the rigid horde. That is effectively how you gain power with the rigid horde. Is anyone? It's a small caste system, effectively. You have the horde, and then there are, praetors above that. That you would assume the Carrick Longsteel, who was spoken of by the giant, is probably of that next rank up. But yeah, you would say shaman, unlikely. Willingness to enter into a duel, probably fairly likely. However, in that same right, if it were to be that leader who was in a duel, it would be a very, very tough fight.
What if by strength he doesn't even mean physical strength? What if he's like, what are those in those what is the common trope in those novels? Like
Battle of Wits.
Yeah, battle of wits, or like a conviction, or stuff like
You
that.
think we're gonna win over a giant playing a game of chess?
Well, not that.
Linen,
Yeah. Do we have
for your sake, I hope that's what he's talking about.
do we have? I'm just saying, do we have to fight? This is probably one of the first times.
Say more likely than not.
This is one of the first times that we've actually had a chance to talk to a potential enemy before fighting them. We could get out.
They're not necessarily an enemy. Let me get that straight.
Adversary.
It would be they would be a formidable adversary. I will say that, but they're not necessarily our enemy. I will state that from my experience, if it comes down to a show of force, and we have to fight them in however many numbers that is, whether it is all of us or just one. If we show our strength well, the Horde will notice. So, there is also
our
that.
fact. We have our fact. He likes honor. He likes strength. He was a defender. He was a defender who has incredible combat prowess and a warrior's mind. We need to show off those abilities of our own, and if we can impress him, it's
Well, at least let's report in with the professor. Let him know we found. Well, what this giant? I guess. Did we ever actually DM? Did we ever get his race? We just
His
keep assuming
race?
it's yeah.
I might have just said moon giant. I don't think I was supposed to know that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if in character we know he's a moon giant or.
He talked a lot about the moon, though.
Yeah.
He did
This giant
speak
from the
about
moon.
the stars and the moon and constellations. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily a bad guess if you guys were to say that he is not a normal giant by any means.
Or we can just. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll ask the professor.
This-
And say, well, he really likes the moon, and he's.
I
Anyways,
just put everyone back into the map. It's going to be a lot darker when you get there. But if you guys have any planning you want to do, obviously there's not a lot to this map, but those stones are fairly large. So maybe there is some planning and battle prep that you could strategize beforehand. So I wanted you to have the map up again.
okay. I'll take out my Rocky Talkie that goes to
Like
Lycus and say, what time is it?
It's early afternoon at this point, probably 1 o'clock or so.
Lycus, I hope you're enjoying your afternoon tea. Are you available?
A few moments pass by before you get a response. Hello, Rikus. I'm a little busy, but I am possibly open for a short conversation. What's your 10-4?
R10-4, forgot to update you, but we did take care of that rampaging chicken problem over in the forest. We are now over in the Iron Hills, and we have made contact with the creature. Very, very large giant, obsessed with the moon. Don't know if you know anything about that, like specifically what we're dealing with. What was his name again? And turn to the party. Gendo. His name is Gendo. I don't know if Pax is nearby, but he's big and he's clad in all mithril. Spoke much of
Wait.
great wars.
Hold.
Anyways,
Did you just say he is clad in mithril?
fully clad in mithril, his blade included. And he's gargantuan.
That is most strange.
Don't forget he can change size at a whim.
He worships Galadris, which we think is the moon.
Oh, yes, he does worship Galadris. Spoke a lot of the moon.
Said he used to be a naval
Admiral.
commander as well. Admiral, yes.
That is quite a strange conundrum. Did he say anything about which block he is from?
38. I think.
Did we say 38? Did you say? I didn't write that. I don't think we.
47.
37. My bad.
47.
It is
My
the
bad.
47th block, yes.
What am I thinking? Where did I get 38 from?
You missed meaning by 5.
I don't know. Yeah, he's from the 47th block.
Alright, well, that doesn't help me at all, as the 40s through the 60s I still have not discovered any information about yet.
Well, shit. Either way, we tried talking to him. Very, very. I say peaceful. He had no ill intent. Overall, has no ill intent upon the realm either. Um,
Well, that is good news, at least.
it is good news. However, we do have one slight problem.
And
The
that
rigid
is-
horde. The rigid horde has gotten to him first and offered him,
Oh dear.
well, undying fealty and servitude at his command. And he's liking that offer, and I don't know what else we can offer other than, well, everything we had already tried to talk to him about.
Well, in terms of offering, I would have to speak with Lord Valkington, or at least Ernest, in terms of getting him a place to stay, as he obviously would have a hard time staying in the city at his size.
He can shrink down at will.
He can shrink.
Don't know for how long. Yes. He can go from, probably 6 inches to a foot taller than Sakir to, well,
40 feet.
yeah. Taller than the tallest statue you've ever seen. I
Do we
don't know.
remember what town he was defending when he was taken away? That might be helpful to mention.
That was in their conversation. It was never mentioned where he was defending or what he was defending when he was placed into Carceri. Either way, Lycus will respond. I sadly have multiple meetings this afternoon that cannot be avoided. I will speak with Ernest, maybe Evathar as well, and see if they are able to do some research into this. This is most curious. I have never heard of a giant like this before. Even storm giants and fire giants, with their increased intelligence and strength, have never been known to wield mithril, mostly adamantine, if they were to forge magical armor for themselves. Along with that, very few of them have the ability to shrink themselves. So,
one more thing to note. Well, please get back to us before this evening because he's called an audience with a representative of the Horde.
Kirk Longsteel.
Yeah. Kirk Longsteel. And we are to have a honorable discussion
well,
where he's going
I
to make
do
his
know
decision.
of Carrick Longsteel, if anything else. Carrick Longsteel was one of the commanders of the Rigid Horde when they invaded Faeth approximately 7 months ago now. He is a dangerous man in and of himself. He is a centaur, but he does have a mind for battle. Will likely, if nothing else, use flattery and any gifts he can provide to try to convince this giant to aid them. Even if the giant takes the reins and does not do exactly what he is wishing, the Horde is... he is crafty. Much of the Horde is not, but Carrick is.
Well, I'll tell you this: gifts have already been laid. Well, go ahead and get to your meetings. If you can check it in with us in the next few hours before we start heading back to his campsite, that would be great.
I will attempt to have drafted up some form of response and offer within the next 3 or so hours. I will do the best I can. If nothing else, we will be able to provide him some form of shelter and home to stay here in the city or outside of it, if nothing else.
I will state no roofs, or at least something with an open courtyard.
We can take the roof off the building, if nothing else.
Okay, he does not want to be under a roof.
Alright.
Again, a giant of the moon.
Yes, this is a very strange man. A giant
Giant.
of the moon. I've never heard of anything like a moon giant before, but I guess
That's what I
it's a
called it.
thing. Either way, I will attempt to draft some kind of plan. As he says that, he says, await my response in 3 hours. I may have something we can offer him as well.
Perfect.
I will attempt to respond in the next 3 hours. Over. And he is going to end the connection.
Well, boys, we've got 3 hours till he calls us back. Who wants to go fishing? I'm hungry.
You don't just carry all your food on you?
I
Jack,
don't
is there
carry
game?
fish.
Have there been any rivers through here?
There have been a few. You know what? Someone roll me a d4. Looks like Jade's on it.
Okay. This is like I haven't rolled like ever for you guys.
Ah,
See, I always roll terribly. I'm not doing it anymore.
So
I'm done.
About an hour northwest of you guys, there is a small oasis. Or sorry, northeast. I apologize.
I'm never rolling
How long
again.
would you
Every
say
time I
we've
do.
been walking while we were... Oh, it's from our current position?
From your current position, which is only a few minutes north of your original place, because the camp of the Moon Giant is about an hour south, an hour and a half to 2 hours south of the Ironside Inn.
We seen any game around? Cheap?
Very little. Very little. Most of the herds and such, where you would, have strays wandering around, there's not really a whole bunch of game in these hills. The herds are up north to northwest, and the hordes in the southeast section, so it's pretty difficult to find anything down there that's not already been gobbled up.
Hmm.
Alright.
And also, Jade, just as an FYI, a 1 is the best you could have rolled. I was rolling for how many hours away it was. So usually,
Oh, no.
like, I always roll bad. No, that was actually the best you could roll.
It's all about belief. That's the thing, though. I believe that one was the worst. So thank you for not telling me. Next time won't be so good.
Alright, so, how would you guys like to kill your afternoon?
Chopsticks.
Well, an hour there, hour fishing, an hour back. That's not really a fishing trip. Well, actually, you said it was like early afternoon.
It's early afternoon. It's about 1 right now, so you guys have
Okay.
approximately 5 or 6 hours until you have to be back.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we can make our way towards the little oasis.
Yeah, let's go.
And we'd see any game or small game, Sakir can go tentacle it. So
Tentacle it.
The goal is to not make it too bloody secure. It ruins the meat.
I like it raw and wriggly.
Heard that before.
Yeah, only for
I
a minute.
suppose two important things to discuss is, well, actually, 3 perhaps. Let's say that we fail in securing the loyalty of this Gendo. What do we do then? Because I mean no disrespect to anybody in the group, but I doubt we have the capability of taking on not only that giant, but as well as the rest of the horde that he would presumably be leading. But given that hordes are horns, raiding would just be more tense, and thus might be our responsibility to deal with.
I believe that. Are you saying that, if we were to get into combat and fail to
Yes.
fail to win him over against the horde, I think the best option would to seek partnership or acquaintance with him. With him at the helm of the horde, if he were to encounter anything umbral, he would know who to call for any assistance that he might want.
All right. Now, going back to the earlier suggestion of single combat, I guess if we are going to do that, who amongst us should be the singular combatant?
I turn and look at Sakir and he goes, "Well, he's the beefiest."
What if it's multiple rounds of single combat, of solo combat?
Like best
That-
of 5.
Yeah.
That
Could
could also
very
be
well be.
interesting.
Especially if, well, given your information on the rigid horde, if the envoy isn't particularly willing to fight a spellcasting opponent, or someone at ranged, this may get, well, a bit tricky.
The rigid horde believes that their style of combat is superior. It doesn't matter if you're a spellcaster or a ranged fighter. However, they also have a incessant lust for combat. So, given what we know, I think whatever this giant decides as a rule, they will honor that. I recommend we all do the same, however.
Especially if one of us needs to fight the centaur.
The last question that I was going to ask was, I suppose it might not be as useful if there's multiple individual combats, but if there's only one, how best could we go about assisting our singular member the most? You'll see Leopold pull out his normally little art-mounted cannon. I could do some tinkering with this, perhaps give it to whoever our combatant will be, but if we're doing multiple rounds, it would leave me a little more on the back foot.
Well, I can give a blessing, but that's about it.
I think anything that I could do would be counted as illegal.
We don't know yet.
If I'm allowed to curse the creature as that it's attacking you,
I think that's a little testing of the limits.
that's what
I know,
I'm
at least to me, I'm giving you equipment beforehand.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between doing things before and doing things after, and doing things to the other side and doing things to your own.
What about
If only I was a couple levels higher.
I do
What are
have
you waiting
this
for,
ring.
man?
yeah, what about Matt? What about any magical item equipment we have? We could lend it to our.
Right, I could hand over my ring of protection to whoever wants to go out there.
I have some magic detecting goggles, but I don't believe those will be most useful in the midst of combat. We would be able to see if they have any magical weapons of their own, provided they get within range, of course.
Well, other than that, I guess you blood brothers, can you make any? I guess I'm not really sure how your medicine works yet. Cause give it to me. But can you make any? What enhancement? Could you like make special enhancements with your medicines, or?
Be able
That
to
is more
work
my
rings.
cup of tea.
Right.
I craft mutagens. My brother, however, his is a physical enhancement that makes him into a mixture of a beast.
That's what causes that.
Yes, I don't know if you noticed the feral-looking claws his arms turn into.
isn't feral, it's infernal. It would have been feral. I just had no creature to bond to. Before I bonded with something else.
As concerning as that comment may be, Lennon, do you have access to a like potion brewing kit on you? I don't know if we would have the option with what's available to us, or if we didn't have time, but the only other thing I could do to prepare would be perhaps brew some potion.
Unfortunately, I'm not really a potion brewer. I'm more of a no. I'm more knowledgeable on what potions to use when and their effects. I have some minor material, like some small materials for like quick mixing, but that's about it.
Last night, if you did not know this about some of us elves, we can go into a trance and learn things from our ancestors. I learned of poisons, and it's been lingering in my mind all day, but that is as far as I can go as far as potions and mixtures go.
Oh, I have like a gallon of poison. Could you use this? Pulls out. Could use this.
Yes, but again, like we'd have to use it on ourselves. We don't want to poison our own.
I mean, even
You
some
understand?
We could poison our weapons, but I'm not quite sure how effective that is, admittedly.
I mean, even some poison can be the greatest medicine at times, but okay. What else do we have? The blood barrel? No.
What could we do with that?
Throw it at him?
And then waste all the blood? I don't see
guess.
what.
Maybe if they get so disturbed by the barrel of blood, they'll lose the will to fight.
I feel like they might get turned on with how much they like
I
fighting.
feel like that would also risk disturbing Gendo.
That's true. It's not very That's not a very honorable way to fight. It is like taking dirt off the ground and throwing it in their eyes. That has gone from being a strategic defense to widely considered very unchivalrous behavior.
I don't see how throwing objects is unchivalrous. People do
Sand.
it all the time.
Stand in the eyes. You've read books, yes?
Or from the pocket.
Pocket sand, yes.
Indeed, that is the reference I was making.
Yes, but not combat books.
Yes. It is
But I-
not considered. It is considered cowardly.
People throw rocks. People throw darts. They have throwing knives. They have, if you're too far away from your enemy, you might throw your sword at them. It's a valid strategy.
Maybe I'll explain it to you later. As of now, just take my word for it.
All right.
Well, I suppose back to my original question then. If there is going to be one single combatant, who should it be?
Probably secure Rikus.
That's what I was thinking. Down between the
Alright,
two of us, though, Rikus is the experienced one when it comes to these specific foes. As much as
Well,
I can.
how about we see what we're dealing with first, but we'll take it all into consideration as long as he allows us to choose somebody if we're doing solo combat.
Well, I was hoping to do this a bit more specific, but I can give you the broad details. And although I guess I should clear this with DM first. So with my features and traits, I have the Eldritch Cannon. That can be tiny and held in one hand. Since it is not bound to me as a person, I was thinking if we had one person doing a one-on-one combat, I could give the Eldritch Cannon to them.
You're the one who controls it, though. Like, you kind of tell it what to do.
What's the likelihood the enemy knows that?
And isn't it a bonus action to do so as well?
Yes, it is a bonus action to do so, and I need to be within 60 feet.
So it is you.
Yeah. Kind of
Yes, but you're the one holding it and equipping it, so to speak. Although, so yes, you wouldn't necessarily need me to train you on how to use it. Just
If you would like to go under the perception of an ancient giant, then be my guest. However, I will not be the one fighting if that is the case.
I guess it was more something you guys used, which I guess I was thinking that from more of a flavor standpoint rather than a mechanic standpoint. But from a mechanic standpoint, yeah, that would just be me doing it. Because in that case, I don't know if I really have that much to add.
Are we at the fishing site yet?
You guys were multi-hour walk, and you guys have been talking for maybe 10 minutes. If we want to, we can just skip to that.
That's boring. No, I'm just kidding.
No, in time, you guys have to talk an hour and a half on our way there. We're
That would be
D&D
brutal.
in real time now.
That would be brutal.
So
Nothing
vampires,
like that.
right?
So, in character. So, is fucking a vampire necrophilia?
I thought the whole reason you
was a conversation.
that we
We didn't
didn't
have
record
record
that, so it would be lost.
I need to just
Best-
start recording as soon as people get on, and then end that recording and then start a new one. That way I could just have those conversations, because they are out of pocket.
Yeah, but sometimes you get
Speaking of
promised.
recordings. When are the recordings of the mini campaign getting posted?
I already have the first 3 posted, but they're unlisted. I'll have to send you the links. I didn't feel like posting those publicly.
Fair.
Anyways, so
You
as
can
you
make it
guys
turn a magical object.
As you guys continue along, you eventually crest over a hill and look down into this. It's almost like a ravine. Like, it's super, super narrow. It drops down super hard. And as it expands with more rock on the sides than dirt and grass, there is like a creek that runs through with little palm trees and plenty of bushes that seem to have like active ripe berries on them. There is no one here either, which isn't necessarily strange as it is in the middle of the wilderness, but mid-afternoon, you wouldn't be surprised if someone stumbles by. But either way, it is completely yours right now. Like I said, small creek with a pond at its end. There is a little bit of wildlife around, but it is mostly birds.
So not really much in the way of hunting. Is the water clear?
The water is clear, yes.
Can we see fish?
There are fish. There does seem to be, at the end of the pond, like an entrance into an underground water stream. As fish seem to go down and then come back up.
Well, I would like to take my first bath of the campaign.
What?
I'm not wearing heavy armor, so I'm gonna
Wait.
step off and then swim down to just explore the waters.
I take off my backpack and start assembling my fishing pole, which I
Alright.
do have a fishing pole.
Okay.
Now, Zach,
And
can I
fishing
catch a fish
By hand,
faster than he can catch one by hook? Yes.
I would like you to roll me a dexterity check, and I would like him to roll me a luck check, but your check is going to have a much higher DC, Jade.
Oh yeah, let's do this.
It's
This
not
is
a
the one
there's
time
not
I'm
a
gonna roll
skill
well.
check for the fishing pole. I'm just kidding.
Do you
Does
have
it-
proficiency with a fishing pole?
Not
Next.
currently is in like proficiency proficient.
There, I don't think there is a proficiency in fishing.
I don't think there is
So
a
I'll
proficiency.
just have you
fishing
roll a
pole.
luck check.
Can Lennon throw darts at fish to
Lynn
try
can
and spear
throw
fish?
darts at fish if you want to. I'll let you also roll a dex check.
Woo!
Dex or acrobatics?
Dex.
Dang it.
Just D20 plus your dexterity modifier.
This is my dex mod.
Yay! I have a +5, and I still rolled a 9.
plus
Yeah.
Yeah, my
one.
internet crapped
I
out
love
there for a
hordes.
minute. Don't know why.
I have a plus one to luck. Damn.
Woo!
So
So,
to
did
kind
any
of
of us
set
get
the
anything?
scene, everyone kind of walks in. We're not necessarily certain what Wayne and Leopold are doing yet, but the Anadeus brothers immediately just start taking off their packs and their armor and their outer clothing. Reich is assembling a fishing rod and like rolling his pants up to step shin deep into the water as Sakir strips down even further and then just dives into the water, seemingly swimming around trying to catch fish. As they're both seemingly in a race to catch fish, Lennon, who seemingly went a little bit further down, finds a narrow section where they can really only get to the next part of the creek in this one little area, and he kind of blocks it off just standing in the water with darts in his hands waiting. And there is this huge freshwater fish, like huge for a freshwater fish. It's maybe 2 or 3 feet long, might be 12 to 15 pounds in total, but like really big, barely fits through the little crack that you're blocking, and you just throw a dart and catch it right in the center of its body, pinning it to the base of this little creek. And as you go in, do you have a dagger, Lennon?
Yes, I do.
So you kind of take a dagger and you kind of put it out of its misery real quick, and then kind of pull it up with the dagger and just kind of hold it over your shoulder, and you walk back over. How do the Honest Deus brothers respond as you guys both kind of look over and just do a double take as Lennon is walking down the creek with probably one of the bigger fish that this little pond has to offer?
I turned to Reich, Sakir, and Rikus turns to Sakir and says, "You fucked hard. If you're not sitting there splashing all the water about, I would actually catch a fucking fish."
You're fishing over there. I'm swimming over here. If anything, I'm helping you out. I'm covered in blood. Jeez.
I'm covered in blood.
And he's
Yes,
gonna
because
step
everyone
out,
knows the
figuring out his clothes.
fish we wanting love blood. Please tell me there's a freshwater piranha.
Freshwater piranha? Yeah, you,
Aren't
so
most
here
of them
just gets
freshwater?
formed. Jade, roll D4D6, drop lowest. Do it 6 times real quick.
Lennon will just walk over to Wayne and Leopold. It's like, I'm glad that the bare minimum survival training I had is coming in handy. Oh, jeez.
Pretty big fish there, bud.
I
You know
know,
how to
right?
cook it?
No. Last
Actually,
time I got something like this, I ate it raw. It didn't taste very good, but I survived. Do any of you know how to cook?
Well then.
I think for somebody that is an expert in medicine, they know how to eat raw food.
This was before I became an expert in medicine, Leopold.
As far as cooking,
Sorry, yeah, keep going.
But let's just say Yvonne has some choice words for my culinary ability. That I best not repeated in polite company.
Please, actually, I do want to know of this cooking, and I cast out my reel a bit farther, walk up to shore and plant it in the ground, my pole in the ground, kind of just letting it wait for a bite, and I go over to my bag and grab a small cooking set and start setting up.
And
The
during
scales
this
can be used for
time,
high poison scent.
Leopold has just been doing some routine maintenance on his guns. So as he is looking at Rakus, make sure I got the brother's name right. As he is looking at Rakus pulling out his cooking set, he's just going to hold up his hands and say, "I don't believe any of you want to eat any gun oil."
Can't say that I do.
I mean, I haven't tried what it'd be like if someone ingested it.
I haven't
Considering,
ingested it either, but I don't believe it's fit for consumption.
I mean, people eat vegetable oil. How bad could it be?
I was about to say, I don't think you want to know where this comes from, but even I'm not 100% sure of the topic myself. But I would hazard it's not very good.
Maybe next time.
I reach over. I'm just going to, unless you like instinctively like move your hand away, he's just gonna brush your hand and then immediately like lick his fingers.
Thought you were in the water.
Yeah, I was in the water. I'm not
Yeah.
that gross anymore.
No, I mean, I wasn't like currently sold in the water, but
Oh, I'd walk out.
I mean, he would probably just like. I guess does he notice you walking up?
What's your passive?
I think my passive was like 18, so I think he probably would.
We'll say you notice him walking up, but you're so
I don't
utterly
think-
surprised
yeah.
at what he was doing that he still gets a little bit off your hand. And
Yeah, it's like I imagine he would pull away, but like doing so in a way that still like smears some of the oil on your hand.
The linen. Like I said, I've had worse. It's not a great flavor.
Oh,
Yeah,
roll me a
why?
Constitution saving throw.
Also, you drink blood. I don't believe you have a good measure of what is and isn't fit for
last time
consumption.
Secure ran a con save and roll, he got.
Can I roll it
Boy.
not in Forge? I'm getting superstitious and it's hurting. It's hurting me.
Yeah, funnily enough, there actually is a module for it's called Better Rolls,
Funny. Why now? Why here? Why now? Why?
which is
This my first
basically
one.
a calculator that will, if it notices a player is rolling significantly lower on average, it will bump up its ratios, so
Okay.
it'll roll a little
So
better every
with
now
the
and then.
Nat 20. So this is just gunpowder mostly, correct?
I was thinking more like oil for making sure that cylinders rotate smoothly and such. Though there'd definitely be some probably gunpowder in there.
Okay. 1 second. Let me just. I've actually looked into this before, but let me just make sure I'm correct on this.
The hallucinogenic effects of
WD-40.
consuming gunpowder.
Gunpowder and WD-40.
Brother just drank WD-40.
If I know anything,
I
if I've
blicked
learned
a little bit off, and it was mostly fresh water.
You don't know how oily his hands are.
So,
Yep.
very funny thing. Respiratory issues and digestive problems are the biggest things that happen when one were to consume like machine oil.
How much
Gunpowder's
machine
original intent was not for guns, but actually used for medicinal purposes in things like helping with digestive problems and respiratory issues.
Word.
So they kind of balance out as you immediately do have the like urge to spit it out because it is disgusting. But if you do swallow it, your stomach will not love you for a little bit, but nothing will go wrong necessarily. It might just be a little bit more liquid, an evacuation of your colon than normal later on in the day. Because it will run through your body swiftly.
we're in combat against Kelsey.
Swear, if you excuse me,
Dude,
I'm just
if you have
round
if you have to make a con save and you fail, you're absolutely shitting your pants. Like, I am
I-
going to do that
say,
to you.
I feel like that's the equivalent of complaining that you're cold, so you want to get a fever. It's not exactly how that works. It's not
Wait, but I
good
rolled a
for
nat
you, just
20,
'cause
Zach.
do
Hear
the
me out.
opposite.
Look, that was the good scenario.
Fine.
Could just roll a bunch of d6 and drop the lowest again, you know. That was a 1.
Yes, now I'm going to consume fire.
You're actually allergic, and you just start asphyxiating in front of all of us. Not
Oh.
a damn thing we can do.
Well,
Yeah,
Even Lennon's medicines can't help you now.
Greater
I have-
respiration doesn't cure allergies.
I have a straw and I can stick it into his throat.
I will also note, just because gunpowder has been used for medicine, it mostly was not for consumption. It was like rubbing on your skin or used in other things. Like, do not try to eat gunpowder if you are having digestive or respiratory issues.
Remember,
Do
kids,
not.
Absolutely my intent.
It's actually a COVID treatment.
It's actually a COVID. No, you're gonna get me taken down.
If I've learned anything from Metal Gear,
But I thought our president
You
had
just got me demonetized by saying that word, Nate.
Hold on,
Not
I'm
like I
curious
make
about this.
money off of these.
Go on.
Don't
All
worry,
6 years.
President Donald J. Trump himself endorsed this method.
Yes, he did. He endorsed just.
Now it's a
plain
hate
gunpowder.
crime if your video gets taken down.
Absolutely, it's a hate crime. I'm 1% African American. Anyway,
No, it's a hate crime against
the
loving
only-
our Lord and Savior.
You're the only racial
President
diversity
Donald
in
Trump.
this group, Zach. I understand.
I am.
Hey, look,
I
I'm
must
a Jew.
now
I'm a Jew. Okay, there's a little bit of diversity there.
You now must be offended for all the races that cannot be
All right,
represented
Nate.
now.
From now on, you're our token black guy. Okay.
How that
Nice.
works?
How's that work?
That's exactly how it
he's a
works. What are
token
you talking
African
about?
American. He's just a white South African, like Elon
He's just a
Musk.
white South African. Yeah. Just say you're from
Jeez.
South Africa, and we'll go from there. I'm gonna make sure that doesn't get in the VOD.
really increasing your editing skills with every session.
Literally just editing like 20 seconds out. Just no cuts, no nothing. It's literally just.
Just say that your computer crashed again.
Oh no.
All right.
So that was a nice
So,
conversation about the
Rikus,
ethics
as
of.
you pull out your little cooking thing, I'm gonna make a little fire underneath the pan, and then start to fillet the fish, get it prepped, because I'm certain you have something available that would allow you to do that.
Yep.
Because you guys do have horses with you, but you do not have your carriage.
Wait, we have
um,
I thought we left the horses.
I have a small.
No, you
cooking-
rode the horses there. I was mistaken earlier.
Oh.
You did ride the horses to Gendo's camp, but
I just don't have my larger. I don't have my trunk on me.
yeah, he doesn't have his trunk. He doesn't have his trailer that his horse travels around with. So, as the food is being cooked, I would like you to roll me a d20, Thomas, since I'm assuming you're the one cooking. And cooking is something you can have proficiency in. So, you're just a flat d20.
Yeah, I don't have my current proficiencies on it.
It also uses tools.
It also uses tools.
And I have cooking tools.
Well,
But you already
well,
have them.
While food is being cooked, can Lyndon try to catch more fish for Gendo when we go back?
Catch more fish for Gendo.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and make
If-
me another dex check.
Woo! I think this one's still. I can use this button.
DM.
22.
Roll me a d6. Yes, Rikus.
Let's see. I as I'm cooking this, and you guys watching me, you'll see me kind of like taste test it a little bit, and then I reach into one of my pouches and pull out a small little bag. Take a pinch of it and put it over. I take a couple pinches and put it over. Let me go to my inventory. It is somewhere in here.
Finest seasoning with South Farthing.
It is seasoning. It is Heward's Handy Spice Pouch.
It's all spice.
It's a common wondrous item. While holding the pouch, I can expend one of its charges, speak the name of any non-magical food seasoning, and remove a pinch of the desired seasoning from the pouch, and season. And it's enough to season a meal.
Okay.
Would you give me advantage for seasoning it?
Sure, I'll give you advantage.
Woo!
It's a non-magical, wondrous item. Yeah.
Fuck yes!
We have
What?
garlic cloves.
Watch him roll double natural ones, and he just throws lavender on the fish.
No,
He
no.
just gets a
I,
little gunpowder. Just
I
he
season
actually
it with-
mixes it with gunpowder. Just sprays gunpowder on the fish.
He
I do
thought
like,
it was
like
pepper.
I just say as I'm taking pinches out, I'm like salt, pepper, paprika, you know.
Rose just got a whole handy haversack.
And I'm just like saying that. And you guys are watching me. I'm just saying that, and I'm literally pinching from the same bag every time. But every time
He's
I'm
just got
seasoning it with something
sectioned
different.
off parts of this bag. Go ahead and roll me at advantage a d20. Just
Yes.
Oh,
Oh!
goodness.
Nice.
Okay,
Oh, what?
so as you are cooking, Lennon, you go back out and do the exact same thing you were doing earlier. And you are able to catch 5 more fish of a sizable, not quite as big as that first one, but they are all fairly sizable. You know, you just rolled a 22 on the check and then a 5 on the d6, so you were able to catch 5 more fish.
Ooh.
And I will
This
say,
one.
the first fish you caught is not enough to, like, be a meal for all 5 of you, but it's a snack. It's a snack.
I mean, like an hour ago, we did eat wolf, so
Yeah, you did eat a little bit of wolf.
Yeah.
Do you want to cook more of these, or should we save these for Gendo? We'll save them for now. Start shoving fish in my bag.
Okay, so as you all eat, this is actually somewhat surprising. If you guys remember your little family dinner that Yvonne cooked, it was also fish. It was salmon. This isn't quite as good, but it is actually very damn close.
hell yeah.
And like I said, it's but a snack. Like, it's not even a handful of fish for each of you. Because if you've ever filleted a fish, you don't really get all of the fish about it. For a 10-12, it's more than a handful. It's more than a handful. But it's not a full meal, I would say.
Yes. And a question, Ike. I saw you pulling an inordinate amount of spices out of a pouch. Can I ask where exactly you got that?
Oh, this pouch?
Yes.
Oh, I got this from Barry's Bobs and Bits, of course.
Is it like a?
Would you
bag
happen
of
to know if he has
holding?
another in stock?
Are you gonna use this to? buy
Honestly, I
garlic?
never know what he has in stock. I just kind of get things.
Understandable.
Are you gonna use it to get garlic for the vampire?
Or
That's actually
No, but that was an extraordinarily good idea. Thank you, Lennon. I'll have to buy
Oh
two.
no.
you
No,
guys
that's-
do
that's fake.
remember garlic, yes. Please
That was-
tell them.
that was pushed by Big Suck. Actually, garlic makes you more drinkable.
Do you have a source to that claim?
Trust me, bro.
I really wanted you to do the Senator Armstrong quote.
The source is admitted.
Yes, thank you, Maxor.
My
Um,
God.
Hold on.
Trust.
I've got experience. Trust me. My dad works for Dracula.
Why can I not see the full
He
calendar?
works
I can
for
only see the little thing.
Baron Strahd.
I don't know how you guys can pull it up, Thomas. We can look into that later.
Yeah, whatever. I was gonna do a bit, but it's okay.
Regardless, fish, solid. More fish, caught. As you guys sit about, chill, and have a bit of team bonding. About what you would consider 4 o'clock, so approximately 3 hours after you spoke with Lycus, Rykus, you feel a buzzing in your pants.
Yeah, that's the way to put it.
Sorry.
Why do you keep it there? You could keep it in like your pocket of your jacket.
It's on the one of the pouches on my belt. It's like you just see Rikus go kind of jolt up and go, "Whoa, that's a new feeling." And he pulls out the rock and kind of clicks the little rune for speaker mode and says, "Yes, hello. This is Rikus, your favorite."
Oh dear. Hello, Rikus. We have spoken, and we were unable to find any definitive proof on what this creature could be. There have been some myths of creatures similar to a moon giant that possibly are from the moon itself.
That's where he claimed to be from, though.
So it is possible he is one of these creatures. However, we have absolutely no information that would relate him to Avalar or Kasseri in any regard.
Damn.
So I have no information for you there. However, what I do have is homes both in and out of the city of Revedan. And I would also, when you speak with him again, mention to him that Revedan is known as the City of the Stars. We were based off of...
Sorry, I gotta pull up my notepad. I want to write down exactly what you're saying.
That is fair.
Wrong notepad.
You're telling me you didn't already have it open?
I
Estimate.
did, but I just clicked on the wrong one.
Just have all notes open at all times.
Anyways, Rivadon is the city of the stars.
So, yes, Revedan is known as the Cities of the Stars. There are many parks and groves in Revedan that are kept by a group of druids who are Circle of the Star druids. They're guardians of nature in Revedan. As the original founders of this city were effectively night watchers and stargazers who found a star directly above the city at that day that they named Sinanen. However, they ended up abbreviating it to just San. And San is, they call the Radiant Star, or they call it the Night Watcher. And there's a constellation that holds a form that uses that star at its tip, that seems to appear like that of a hero wielding a spear. And so San is an ancient Caladrian hero. So Revedan is deeply set into the stars and the night sky as like its foundational piece. And so as he goes through and explains that, he's also going to say, and if worst comes to worst, mention that we may be interested in giving him a command of his own in our forces, dependent on if he proves himself to us in the near future.
And say we get into a trial by combat, would you have any recommendations there other than try our best?
With Kek, try to stay close. If he gets a running head start, I mean, as any centaur would, it will hurt.
Understood. And
Expect him to have a strategy as well. Don't expect them to run in like mindless barbarians, like most would when you are fighting the Horde. They will have a plan.
The Horde is also giants too, isn't it? Or is it just centaurs?
It's centaurs and Goliaths primarily. There are some giants. There are some hill giants and Ettins. that are a part of the Rigid Horde.
Okay.
And if for some reason your favorite squadron fails, we'll try to impress and make
Maintain.
keep acquaintance with him. I don't know what else you would want me to do other than that.
If I am also to be honest, if it is true and they are providing him complete control of the Rigid Horde, and he himself has no ill will against this realm, it is possible that that is just as beneficial a situation. However, I would much rather have him close rather than running a horde of 20,000 of the most dangerous barbarian and rigid people among this plane.
Rigid people.
They do not
Yeah, the
change.
Rigid Horde.
Well, I guess they get their name from somewhere. I do agree. If we fail to impress, even if we do win, honestly, it wouldn't hurt having the Rigid Horde as an acquaintance. Okay, anything else for me, boss?
I wish you luck. When you are done with Gendo, return at all haste. I have something else for you.
Hey, the Academy wouldn't be able to just, pinpoint teleport, a small bag of, potions, would they?
No.
potion.
And I would try to send someone out to you to teleport back. However, I am about to enter into likely a multi-day affair with multiple other groups. So when you return, if you are able to return within the next few days, try to find either Ernest or Evethar, and they will point you in the right direction.
He gestures with a thumb up, knowing he can't see it, and says, "Yes, sir. All right. Well, we will hopefully be in touch with you. I don't know if you're a night owl, but
I will
we'll send you a
wake up for
message."
it, if I am not already up. And Rikus, when I say all haste, march through the night. Get back here swiftly.
Rikus looks at the rest of the party and goes, "Well, it's going to be a long night, so..." And
Yeah, there's my beauty sleep.
But you don't sleep.
Rest
At the very
only,
least-
rest only when you need to on your return home journey. You are still 3 or so days from us now that you are in the Iron Hills. Regardless.
At the very least, most of us being elves, we don't need as much time in the night. Though you might have to see if you could sleep in the saddle and then.
I mean,
we have a carriage.
That too.
oh,
Yeah, once we get back there.
And probably it's about time that we head back to face off against whatever the Hordes have planned for us.
Well,
First things
on
first.
to it then.
Good. Alright, Secure shoves a big red cracker in his mouth, and then packs up his things. We're gonna get going.
what? What's the red cracker?
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Alright. So, you guys wait just a little bit longer before beginning your trek back down towards the camp of Gendo Manarath. As the sun begins to drop and dusk reaches its peak, you guys return, cresting over that hill into that small valley, where you see a now active fire. You've seen it from miles away at this point. So, as you guys return, is there anything you guys would like to do? Any last discussion, strategy, preparation that you would like to do before we enter in this scene?
Do we flip a coin, Rikus? Or do we
Uh-huh.
like that plan at all?
How about you two pick a number between 1 and 20?
If at all possible, I do believe fighting as a group would be wise. I would not suggest a 1v1.
You know best.
1v1, bro.
Very well, then.
But if it comes to it, we will figure that out momentarily.
I mean, best case scenario, if it is a 1v1, we just ask for some time to prep.
Guess we'll find out. And real quick.
Real quick.
Do we need to set a timer for your real quick?
No, you guys can keep going.
Alright. So as you guys crest over the hill and move into the fire, you guys can move yourself to wherever you want.
Game pause.
Okay, I'm telling it unpause. There you go.
Pick myself a nice little sit down on this rock.
Alright.
Just puff away on my cigar.
I got your other cheek.
Nice.
Alright, I'm gonna do some setup things here real quick.
His name's Gendo, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
No mana rat.
Mr. Manorap.
I thought it was Gendo Akari.
What was the name of the centaur?
Kelk.
Kerk.
Kelk Longsteel.
Longsteel.
Kerk.
Thought it was Kelk.
Kerk. Kerk.
So I might have misput it down in my notes. Yeah,
All
either I
of you-
misput it down or I misread it, and then I just said Kelk, and then everybody said. Although, yeah, I think
What
it
was
was
his last name?
Stonehand was a dwarf, and I was confusing the two.
Longsteel.
Yeah,
Long steel?
That one's a lot easier for you guys to get.
yeah.
Just long steel.
Longsteel.
In my defense, it's not my fault you named two NPCs Kelk and Kerk
I
right
pronounced
next.
them very different. Kelk, Kerk. I overpronounced the Kerk.
My notes are just wrong, apparently, in
You're
terms
wrong.
of names.
Yes.
38th block? I don't know where that came from.
I was gonna say I don't know where that came from either. So I
Maybe it's like Gentomoron's like 112th block, or is there 112 blocks in general? I don't know.
there are 112 blocks. In
Okay.
total.
So that where the hell did I get 38? I don't even know where that number. Has that number come up?
38.
It was mentioned about something. I don't remember what though.
Who's Kelk?
The ranger that helped us
Stonehand.
fight.
The ranger
the-
who helped you with the
dwarf.
digesters.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Forget ab-
So, as we enter into this conversation, we're going to do this real quick. So, as you guys enter into this valley, you note there are already a group here. There's already a group here. As you guys approach, Gendo seems to be in an active conversation with a centaur and 4 Goliaths.
I
What
don't
are they
knock.
talking about in their active conversation?
Yeah, what's the...
So
What are they conversing?
as you guys approach, listening in, it takes a little while. They are not speaking in common. They are speaking in giant. So does anyone speak giant?
Did I try?
Nope.
I know primordial.
I got Dorvish.
That
Dang. That's a no.
Negative, sir.
Negative.
Wow.
So, you guys do not know what they are speaking of as you approach.
Crap.
So,
The one thing, DM. I do have a question.
yeah, I have an answer.
So, the spell Hunter's Mark
Yes.
has a range of 90 feet.
Mm-hmm.
The only component is verbal. It lasts for 1 hour. Within 90 feet of the centaur Kerk, is it something that is detectable? It is only a verbal command, and Google, according to D&D Beyond people in Google, they say that it is less of a spell and more like a hunter's, like a ranger's, like metaphysical ability to hone in on a target.
I would say I'm reading the spell right now. As the spell lists, there is no reason I would assume that the target knows. I will say it is still a verbal component. I'm not going to make it a very high DC, but I will have you roll a stealth check. As even 90 feet, even with them speaking, you're in an open field, so voice carries very easily. It's not going to be a high DC.
If you had informed us about that, could we potentially make some conversation to mask the casting of the spell?
He's already rolled. Has he rolled?
I did not.
I'm about to roll.
You're about to roll?
Yeah.
I was literally like 2 seconds away from clicking.
What is your modifier? Because I'm going to be honest.
Plus
it's-
10.
Yeah. He will have a very hard
Okay.
time failing this.
So,
Um,
you say that he's gonna roll 2 nat 1s or something.
if you roll 2 1s, we won't talk
Then you
anymore.
deserve it.
Yeah.
Wait, am I rolling at advantage?
I'll say that the party, if you wanted to alert them and just be like, hey, make some noise, they could be talking and give you advantage, yeah.
So how's the weather tonight, Sakia?
Night. If I could predict the future, I would tell you.
Well, I mean, you can tell how it is right now, and do you think it'd be a good night for a fight?
Thank God I have a plus 10.
I don't think I caught enough fish for everyone.
Well, I mean, were you trying to catch enough for everyone? I thought you were just catching enough for us.
Well, I thought I'd give some to Gendo.
You'd have to catch every fish in that lake and then some for him.
Yeah, because
Oh.
no offense, then, but the man is a giant. He's 40 feet tall. He could probably eat the fish the size of us and sit in a room for seconds.
Okay, DM.
Click the
17.
math buttons.
Okay.
It's tasty enough.
You're lucky. Okay, we'll go on from there.
Relative advantage.
So, as you guys approach in with them speaking, you kind of whisper out Kerk Longsteel and mark your foe for the next hour.
Nice.
So, as you guys approach, Gendo and the Goliaths and Centaur seem to wrap up a point in their conversation, and he looks to you. Go ahead and make a perception check, guys.
Boy. I'm perceiving.
Am I perceiving?
Ooh, 23. I got a nat 20.
Nice.
Ah, nice.
Try a 26.
Hey, I rolled
I
well.
rolled a 19.
You guys all rolled fairly well outside of Lennon. But
Yep.
still. Above
Lennon's
average
just
for Lennon.
actually Lennon's genuinely talking about his fish.
Lennon just genuinely, I don't know, I think 5 will be enough for it. So, as you guys approach, you all notice, tucked away in the torn tent, you guys
No longer
see...
Horn.
Yeah, we mended it.
You did
Yeah.
mend it. That is correct. I apologize. You see, just peeking out of the mended tent, almost what looks like an ornate morning star, like a massive mall of sorts, that seems to have like encrusts of gold and jewels inside of it. Along with that, it seems to be wrapped in a massive, like, fur cape. You don't know if it's like bear or dire wolves or something, but more gifts have been brought by the Horde.
Yeah, we had checked this tent earlier, so this had to have been a gift.
Yes. You guys were there earlier, so this is something that was received recently. Oh my gosh, what is this music?
I was gonna ask.
Our friendly conversation with the rigid
By the
horde
way,
and
this is the social negotiation music. So we're going to move down to... Maybe this will be a little bit better. This might be a little too much, but we'll just go with it.
Whoa.
So, as you guys approach into this valley, approach up to the fire, and this conversation closes, you guys all are beckoned to take a seat. The fire is raging, so you have to kind of stand a couple feet back from it. But as you guys approach, Gendo nods to you and says, I hope, by Galadros and the moon itself, that your afternoon was well founded.
It was, and we thank you for the well wishes.
got some fish to share with everyone. If
Fish? I have not had fish for a very long time.
kind of
Yes, there's a grove just an hour northeast of here. We made our way there and spent some pleasantries fishing.
Sounds quaint. He is going to reach down, like, over the fire to you, Lennon. Opening his hand for the fish. As
the
you
fish.
do, he kind of, like, pulls out, like, a very, very rudimentary, homemade, like, grill that's set way up above the fire, as it's a very hot flame right now that he is just going to set the fish upon.
Damn, I was gonna season the fish.
Too late.
Too late.
Well, I didn't know he was just gonna. I didn't know the stone cooking thing was 12 feet above a bonfire.
Stand on my shoulders.
So, as he sets the fish up and then sits back down, at this moment he is no more than 12 to 14 feet tall as he sits back
more.
down. He is going to look from one side of the fire to the other and say, both of you have come to me asking for things. Why should I go with either of you? Some of you have made your arguments already, but I would hope that you have come with a little bit more preparation in those regards and arguments. He kind of turns over to you and says, Inexorables, correct?
Yes, sir.
Indeed.
Why should I return to your home?
Do you wish to see the City of Stars?
Valaris?
I after he says the City of Stars, I speak up and say, a history of our home city of Revedan is that it is known as the City of Stars. There are many groves in Revedan kept by the Circle of Star Druids, the original founders, who were night watchers, stargazers, and charted the phases of the moon. Sananen, the radiant star, was discovered by them, and from it a constellation of a hero wielding a spear. There is deep history and reverence of the night sky in Revedan.
As you call out the name of Sanon and the Revenant Star, could I, whatever the star, could I try and like point it out in the night sky, just so we all see what we're talking about?
I would like you to go ahead. I'm gonna make this a check because of the fact that you're not from Revedan.
I
Well, no, you're not. None of you are
I've
originally
lived
from
in-
Revedan.
Not originally, but I've lived there for like 12 years.
And also, would Rikus have been interested in the originating cultures of Revedan? No.
No.
Really, Linen or Leopold would be the only ones who would. If both of you guys would like to make me an intelligence check to attempt to find it swiftly and point it out.
9.
Oh no.
What even is a star?
12.
Some people
Well.
say it's a ball of gas. Some people
Well,
say
it
it's a
doesn't
crystal.
actually matter because as long as you point one out, you're good.
So it takes you almost an embarrassingly long time because you've been pointing this star out to people for a little while, Leopold. But as you look up and you eventually find it, and as you find it, you kind of call out the constellation and point up towards it. As it takes a little bit, but as Gendo peers up and looks at it, one sec. He says, "Was Sanonin a great warrior of the Caladrian people and from Revedan?"
Indeed. In fact,
He was known. Well, actually, you go.
you can even, in the star, see the spear he wielded. Let me very quickly look up the name of the star again.
Sanonin.
The radiant star is the tip of the spear.
Interesting. A compelling argument. Is there anything else that you would say?
That the head of our organization, Lycus Aranin of the Academy of Dusk, wanted us to mention that we can give you command of your own and operational free will. We can give you a place to call home, where no roof would be involved. In fact, if you found a homestead that you prefer, we can have the roof removed. If you wish to stay in the groves, you can stay wherever you wish. Your involvement in the organization is entirely up to you. But that is what we can offer.
All right. And then he turns over to Kerk, who this centaur kind of sitting upon its horse legs will stand up
Sitting on his horse legs.
on his horse legs. He doesn't have human legs.
He's sitting on his horse
He's
legs.
sitting on them, yeah. It looks weird. I mean, have you ever really thought about a centaur sitting down? It's like, man, that's kind of goofy looking.
Does that mean he
Kind
has
of
a
look like they're
human...
still standing.
Does
Yeah.
that mean he has a human butt to sit on his horse torso?
He's
Don't worry
sitting
about
on his horse.
Well, have you
Lit.
seen like a
Just a
horse,
little.
like their front they fold down
Oh,
their first.
okay. You're
line.
talking like he is resting on the ground. He's
He's
sitting,
resting on the ground. He's sitting.
laying down,
He's
whatever it
literally
is.
sitting like a horse sits.
He's sitting
Yes,
as a
okay.
horse would sit.
I imagine it like he was sitting on himself, like he was almost like slouching.
What?
Can you imagine if it like connects like right below the taint, and so you still have that set of cheeks as it connects to the spine?
The discussions we have, and this is far from the
Alright,
worst tonight.
Serious.
Okay.
Yes.
How much clothes is he wearing? Because I gotta know. Is
How
a
many
centaur's is a centaur?
So actually,
Is his
describe
schlong is his schlong at the base of his human torso, or is it at the back of his?
I'm rolling a
horse.
d20 because I don't know. No. So to describe what Kirk looks like, to describe what all of these barbarians look like, all of his Goliaths seem to be pretty like one tone in terms of their dress. They're wearing scraps of well ordained, and you would almost say ornate for like a barbarian. Like it's fairly average clothing, but like for a barbarian, they dressed up for this.
Damn.
They have like a black cloak that almost looks like a bear's fur across their chest that drapes over like a cape on their back. They each have a great axe wielded behind them that have seemingly all been cleaned and polished and sharpened today. And as you look over to, and also to note, these are really tall Goliaths. Like, they're all standing close to 10 feet tall. They are big boys. If nothing else, they are intimidating. And then looking towards the centaur, who at the tip of his head stands just under 7 feet. He is large, but still not very. But as he stands and like does a little bow, you see he has long, like dirty blonde hair. About his human torso, there is almost like a dress skirt of sort. It's kind of awkward. Think like a kilt that extends up as the upper body of his horse frame is also clothed. As it's almost like a dress skirt for a horse, but made for a human. It's kind of weird to look at, but also, like, it's a centaur, you don't see him very often. Like, how do they dress is always the question. But his human half is completely covered by some form of dress shirt. He himself, along his right hip, horse hip, that is, has a nasty-looking great axe. It actually shines almost multiple colors of the chromatic scale. And as he stands and kind of takes this bow, he will say, "O great giant of the moon, we, as the rigid horde, beseech you. We offer what we always have, the gifts of the giants of this realm. As you know, many giants are in our horde, and you would find yourself maybe not among the compatriots of your old home and plane, but compatriots at least of your size and voracity. Your mind would be free. You would not be trapped in some city of the stars, in some grove. Instead, you would lead a horde of 20,000 wherever you wish. Under your command, it is even possible that we could take all of the Iron Hills for ourselves. Rather than cutting yourself a small piece of a home that the roof was removed from, just so you can see the stars. Instead, you could sleep under them every night, controlling and cutting out a large swath of this land for yourself and for your new people. Along it, your belly will never grow loud. You will never go hungry. You will never grow short of a place to rest or a place to feel safe. Even the Khatanate Empire has tried to remove us over the many years, and they have failed over and over. Gendo Manarath. With the Rigid Horde, you would find yourself a power in this kingdom, not a pawn on the board. And he'll kind of bow again before returning to the other side of the flame and sit down. And Gendo will say, over to you guys. I'm assuming you have some form of response to that.
I
You
step
take it
forward.
from me.
Yeah, I'll step forward and looking to the centaur. I guess. Hold on. Let me move myself on the map a little bit so I'm within eye shot of Kerk, and I say, Kerk Longsteel, your name does travel far, and you are well known. And I know that you and your brothers served alongside this continent in the war against the Githyanki. Ill will is not in your nature. In fact, brotherhood is. I too served in that war, and as did my brother, and I gestured towards Secure. We do not wish to tie him down to one specific location, or one specific homestead or grove. We wish to make of him an ally. An ally in our war against what we call the Umbral forces. The Umbral being those who have come across from Carceri, and they're flooding this entire realm with unfathomable dangers. I turn to Gendo and say, Gendo Manarath, you know of the horrors in which I speak. You yourself have shown that not everything from Carceri is a danger. To our well-being, at least. Lethality, I am sure of it. No matter the outcome of tonight's negotiations, I wish that we could remain in contact as whatever form of ally you wish. And the same goes to you, Carrick Longsteel.
Does anybody
And
else
I'll
speak up?
step back.
Okay.
Actually, I'll stay.
As you step back, Gendo kind of looks back over to Carrick and says, your last response. And Carrick will again stand up and provide a short bow. Your Radiance. I agree in some parts of what this man says. We fought in the Githyanki War. It was a brutal and bloody affair. And there is honor to be found in that. But I must still notate that freedom and power are very different things. You came as a commander. You fell from Carceri as a commander. Why would you not take up a command in your new place of living? I do not believe you are ready for retirement. There is always the thrill to be found in a war. But, as I have said, you would be our leader. Any war that would happen would be of your choosing. You would not be playing second fiddle as you did in Karseri. The Caladrian Empire, while it is vast and diverse, some would say, it does not treat its unique well. He'll look over and say to Rikus and Sakir, I am sure they have seen much discrimination due to the frame of their skin and their pointed ears. Often mistaken for drow, I would assume. He kind of looks over to you. The Caladrian Empire is set in its ways. The Khatanit Empire is set in its ways. You could break the mold of this world, change it for the better. Is it wrong to use something that possibly could be conceived as evil to do good in your mind, Gendo? If so, by all means, we will continue as we have for the last 100 years in the rigid horde in these hills. And we have seen these umbral creatures. We have fought and killed a few already. They are formidable, if nothing else. Think it not that you would only be able to deal with these new enemies if you joined the Inexorables. We will see plenty here in the Iron Hills and the surrounding plains of the Southern Khatanit Empire. Regardless, you know what is best for yourself. I only wish you consider what is best for this plane and what good can be done with you at the head of the horde. And he is going to return and sit again. Gendo is going to stand, reaching his full height, and his voice now larger, more vast. He is going to say, I have heard your arguments of the mind. I would like to see the arguments of the steel. Choose amongst yourselves how you wish to prove yourselves. And he is actually going to walk over to his tent. He is going to stand beside it, just watching you guys. As Kerk and all of his group stand, he is going to look over to you guys. A little flustered by this. He wasn't necessarily anticipating this is how it would go. But he's going to look over and say, well, I guess we are to choose.
Indeed. Question. What would you consider a check to sort of, I guess, appraise how strong the enemy looks at a first glance? Insight. Not very good at that skill.
I am. Wait.
And
Yeah, I
if you
am.
would like to roll an insight, you are welcome to.
Yeah, might as well.
I would not.
So close.
Well,
7.
again,
Nope.
Wait. Centaurs are Fey. Yeah?
A little bit, if memory serves me right.
Advantage
you
on
do not
P-
get advantage. No, you do not.
Are you kidding me? Fine.
You
Jeez.
are appraising the active power level of this creature. And also, you're doing it for the Goliaths as well. So it's not just for him. And I'm not going to have you roll 2 separate checks for each of them.
Okay. I'll roll, but I got a flat, so it doesn't matter. 15.
And also, he is large for a centaur.
Okay.
Okay, so highest insight was a 20.
His dad was a centaur, but his mama was a Goliath.
Nah, his
Wow.
mama was a giant.
And his daddy was a horse.
And his daddy was a really big horse.
Oh my god.
That's so fucked up.
I don't want to
Uh.
see that in my. No.
Chat, draw some fan art.
Chat.
What
Rule
chat?
34.
I don't know what kind of fans we draw towards us, honestly.
That's a good
Okay.
question.
I believe the fans we draw towards us are us.
Non-existent.
Yeah.
Non-existent. One. Secondly, if there were any, it would be very much like us. Anyway, noting what you would assume to be power levels, you look at Kerk, and you see someone who absolutely could not be fought in a one-on-one duel by any of you.
Noted.
Oh no.
The Goliaths seem significantly weaker than him, if for no other reason than their much, much lower intellect. But with Kerk at their head, they will also be a dangerous group to fight as a whole. It's going to be a little rough either way. From what you're kind of inciting from this whole situation, you don't necessarily know how Gendo is doing this, but both sides seemingly made points that would interest him, if nothing else. The Battle of Arms is where a decisive victory in his mind would be found. It would not be a bad idea to have some kind of strategy before going into it, of specifically how you would defeat this group. They're large, they're going to be faster than you, they're going to be able to run you down. But how many of them will you be able to take with you before they get to you, is the question. So, as you ponder that, Kerk is going to say, I believe it would be simplest if my 5 against yours.
I turn to the group.
Lynn's like,
Lynn's just like, I don't want to get in a ring with that guy. Points
No.
over.
okay,
It's just
The-
giant
you'll-
named. It's just a giant named Karth. Just
We could say that
No.
the leaders
Maybe-
would not fight.
maybe,
The leaders would stay on the sideline and direct their troops.
how about I suggest we both take a small amount of time to discuss terms both groups would like to see, and then reconvene once we are both ready to discuss something.
Well, they've already had their little discussion. We haven't had ours yet, kind of. But now with this
Okay.
new information,
Battle of Wills is still going on. That's the problem with this.
I, for one, quite
Are we
like
all
the
gonna-
idea of
we're gonna
having.
step away.
so,
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm
I'll step away.
As you guys kind of step away, they will also kind of step to their own side, and they will continue to speak in Giant.
Alright, this is when I give that suggestion.
Yes. I, for one, I believe it's a fantastic idea.
If we can get what?
If we can get the idea of having leaders step back in command and have that idea stick, takes the biggest piece of the ball.
One of us would not be able to fight, but
Who would we like to denote as a leader in that case?
Well,
to not
as much
lie.
as I
the-
would love to join you on the field of battle, I know I have taken at least
That's a great time for him to crash.
as well, right? Just considering.
Oh no!
You're gonna have to repeat
Only
your whole
froze
thing.
halfway through that. You were.
Dang.
He's still not on mine.
Oh, he's still not caught up on yours, Nate. Well, he is on everybody else's.
Alright, not like
In
that.
that case, you'll just have to suffer, Nate. Well, considering I feel like I've taken command on at least a few times, but I would be remiss if I did not mention that you are the most senior member of this group, Rikus, if you wish to have the title of commander for what it's worth, unofficially.
It's I on the side. Is there any possible way that can anyone think of a possible way that we can fight them with when with our side having the numbers advantage?
Well, the thing is that we don't necessarily need the numbers advantage if we can take Kelk off the board. I think one-on-one, we could probably take the Goliaths.
And
Problem is
again,
Kelk.
may I remind you that that would not be seen as a fair fight to the giant if we were all 5 of us against Kelk alone, which
If they believe that they're stronger than us, even though we outnumber them, that's a fail on their part. That's an
Yes, but
overestimation
it's,
of their abilities.
I feel like
DM,
it's
did
ridiculous to try to get Kelk off the board. Kirk. I said Kelk. That's Kirk.
DM, the giant, Gendo hasn't mentioned any other like rules or anything like that. Like, it's battle to the death, or
He's going to have his own set of rules once you guys have decided on a set.
okay, so I don't have to worry about that.
In terms of the way we set the rules before Gendo sets in is, in my mind, another test of our will or of the mind. Simply agreeing to a straight up all in wouldn't be displaying any new strength that we haven't shown yet.
Yes, but what other display of strength could we have? I mean, respectfully, I think most of us would probably lose to them in an arm wrestling contest. I think Rikus or I could probably outshoot Carrick with that bow, but
you have more excuse to use your cannon if you're directing things anyway.
I don't know if that would fly either way. But I do appreciate the thought.
What if we challenge them to a
Where'd he go?
He's back.
I don't know
That was a close
why
one.
my computer didn't crash, but
Discord did?
That was
Every
weird.
session.
Hey,
Every
it's
session.
better than your computer crashing.
Absolutely. Okay, well,
I was actually waiting for it to happen. I was pretty sure it was gonna happen at some point.
okay. So, I missed out at like 5 seconds of conversation. What was that?
I was gonna say, we could challenge them to an individual specialty type of fight where our whole side and their whole side will pick each what we're best at and then choose one of the opposing side to challenge them at their own. And whoever wins the most wins the most. Do the widest amount of things.
We could also
Well, the thing is, thinking of this from
Gendo's point of view?
Gendo's point of view, being an admiral, and his tactical mind, I'm sure he wants to be able to see and he gestures to Lennon, the mental prowess of each group on the battlefield. It's not just purely strength he's after, but also tactical prowess.
then what if
No one lives this long in war without wits, and I'm sure Gendo has the most out of anyone here.
we suggest a multi-round bout where participants say in round 1 is 2, round 2 is 3 participants in round 3 is all 5. Fight and score, I don't know, something, score wins, and that will significantly weaken, well, it would
What
it would hurt us as well, but
I
it would also
want
weaken.
I want to ask you then, what do you all think the advantage would be to having something like a round robin, or just
if we were
attorney
going
style?
to, if we were going to do multiple bouts, I don't. Well, I suppose we could do them as individual combats, but again, I don't know if that's quite a battle of wits. Showing off individual skills. I don't know if that's also quite what he might be after. I think the best idea is to have the commanders of each side try and step back. That way, he can see how each organization functions as, both how well they can command and how well they can follow orders, which for a commander like him is most important. After all, it's not exactly useful if you're a commander and nobody listens to you.
And you don't believe that Carrick will just refute it and say, I can command just as well on the battlefield as I can on the sidelines?
Then how about we propose conditions for the commander to step in? Say 2 members of their forces is eliminated.
I think we just might be overcomplicating things, in my opinion.
Yes.
Lyndon, yes.
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 Tactics
Nope.
is the concept of overthinking your strategy to the point where you've thought about everything and can counter anything your opponent throws at you.
Because you have to remember, Professor Lycus said that Kerk is crafty, yet he came up to us first and said it's simplest for their 5 against our 5. That means he has a plan
And
for some case like that.
I think his plan is that he believes he can win because I think he believes his forces to be superior. And if it were just himself, he'd be correct. I'm in favor of at least floating our commander idea, and if not, we can then probably go back to the 5v5.
Well, then we go back to choosing who exactly is our commander. And yes, while I am honored at the gesture, it does not necessarily have to be me.
Well, I think Gendo would likely see through any lies.
It's not necessarily
And,
a lie.
well, I mean, we never officially designated a commander, but I mean, I don't. Respectfully, Zakir, I don't believe we could pass you off as our commander.
Unfortunately,
Anyway,
unfortunately, and I've done the most talking,
Yes,
and I am the senior member. But
Wayne does lead a church. Wayne, how much commanding experience? How much leading experience do you have?
I don't
Totally, it's
know.
so much.
Anybody with a passive insight over 10 is like, he has never led a battle before in his life.
You're telling me
The only person here that's commanded troops is Rikus.
Rikus is the only one who's actively led troops in a battle.
like
before.
I said that, did I not?
Yes, you did.
So if there were to be a commander, it very much would make the most sense for Rikus to be that person.
Yeah.
We can propose the idea.
very well then. As our commanding officer, would you like to, or would you prefer I did?
We could take a group vote. See.
I literally just said that
We are
I'm going to propose the idea.
No, of like who's going to be the commander.
I thought you were
Oh.
saying that we should propose the idea.
Well, okay. I mean, yes. Well, we're going to propose the idea to the
Yeah.
other side, and then I kind of just put my hands up and say, Okay. Maybe I was getting too excited to fight. But we can at least propose the idea.
Indeed.
All right.
And after I say that, I'm going to cross my arms and say, before we start this battle between all four of you, I have this itching feeling that I kind of like the sound of being allied with the Horde. So even if we do win, I mean, whichever way you slice it,
Just because we win doesn't necessarily mean
we lose.
And it doesn't mean that Gendo is going to come back with us. He could still decide to ally with the Horde, but he'll be
Yes,
maybe
but
more receptive to.
he could still lead the Horde and be our ally. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes, but considering they are a horde known for raiding, and have recently raided the Caladrian Empire, I would be suspicious at the very least. I don't necessarily doubt Gendo, but he's one man against 20,000. Even if they would fight him, the pressure for their commander would be present.
He doesn't have a purpose. It's very easy to impress one on him, as ancient as he is.
As a side note, before we go over there and talk to anybody, catch how Kirk was talking about how the Caladrian and Khatanate Empire were stuck in their ways when they're the rigid Horde. And he also admitted that for the past 100 years, they've been set in their ways.
Whoops! Continuity error.
Anyway,
Nobody ever said Carrick was a great public speaker.
It's like, well,
Well, to be fair, when you're talking about one group set in their ways for 100 years, and multiple empires set in their ways for hundreds of years, speaking to someone who has been alive for thousands of years, when you look at it in that perspective, it may not be quite as bad an argument as you're making it out to be.
yeah, I just found it funny.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Are you guys done with your strategy?
yes, we're done.
Okay. So.
No, I think we might have like
No,
5 more things
I will mute
to
you.
discuss.
So, as you guys come back to the fire, Carrick will approach you guys, and Carrick will say, "Do you have a recommendation in this regard, Inexorables?"
In fact, I do. My squadron would like to propose a captain's battle, where the captain is sidelined as they command their troops, where it is both a battle of wits and blades. How well can you lead, and how well can your troops follow? However, if this is not desired by you, Gendo, a 5v5 it shall be.
Gendo will say nothing, as Carrick responds, "On a few side notes, I believe that is acceptable on the part of the Rigid Horde. On a few exceptions, I will say the commanders may enter the battle after a short period of time. We'll say approximately 20 seconds upon into the combat. Perhaps more, depending on how long it appears. Me and you can discuss that between ourselves. Inexorable Commander, I do not know your name.
I nod and say, Ricus Aenedaeus Shade Hollow.
Ricus. We can discuss how long we would take. However, on a second exception, upon half of our forces falling in battle, we would be allowed to step in and assist. Upon one side's commander entering in, upon the next moment of combat, the other commander could follow in those footsteps, whether to have fallen or not in his compadre.
I will give a stern nod and say, I can agree to these stipulations.
He is going to look up towards Gendo, and
I will also.
As you guys do, Gendo is going to say, a few rules of my own. Firstly, you will not leave the valley. It will happen here.
Don't leave the
Don't-
game board, guys. Stay
Don't
on
exit
the
the-
map.
Don't exit the battle
Nintendo
map.
said so.
GM, can I climb a tree?
Like Gendo.
Secondly, any rules agreed upon shall not be broken, or it will immediately end, and whoever broke the rules will immediately be sent away, wherever they wish to go. Thirdly, while blood will obviously be spilt, there will be no killing. If one side does end up killing one of the other, again, I will end it, and they will be sent away immediately. And fourthly, in this battle of commanders, I am intrigued. I was not anticipating the combat you would choose, but I am, as I said, intrigued to see. Agree upon your rules, and you may begin.
Okay, cool. DM, just so I can make a note of it.
Yep.
Actually,
Hold on, I'm making a tab.
And
What exactly were the stipulations that he gave without the
we'll have you guys,
finesse?
if you see my ping, go ahead and move up to this side of the map. We'll move kind of away from the fire a little bit.
Where ping?
Top left?
North, top left, top left, top left. And
Yeah.
they'll be bottom left.
In the dark.
I don't have dark sight.
I will expand the light here in a moment.
No. I want to fight with my darkfish. You got to leave at least part of the map
Kind of dark.
Then put
darkness.
the fire out, Commander.
And either way, it is not actually like dark, where dark vision would come in. Like it's moonlit. So
Okay.
Commander.
regardless. So I'm gonna finish moving these guys over. So the stipulations were, firstly, we're going to say upon the beginning of the 4th round of combat, if it gets there before any other stipulation occurs, beginning of the 4th round of combat, both commanders are allowed to step into the fight.
Okay.
Second,
And then
if either side were to lose 2 of their participants and be knocked unconscious, the commander will be able to step in. If that happens on the next round of combat, I will have both commanders roll initiative, and they will act and call out their commands on their initiative roll each turn. They'll obviously have your initial command, but you can change, so you can issue a longer command on your turn, or on your reaction, a short and prompt do this kind of thing to 1 or 2 people. But say if on round 2 you guys are able to knock 2 of the Goliaths unconscious, and he steps in round 3, then at whenever your initiative is in round 4, you can step in.
Hmm.
So on the next round after that commander steps in, you can step in.
Okay, so yeah, so upon the 4th round of combat, or losing 2 combatants, or
The opposing team has lost 2 combatants, their commander joined, and then the next turn you could enter in.
okay, so whichever side loses the 2 combatants can enter in first, is what you're saying.
Yes, the commander will enter in first and get 1 round, 1 turn more than. Effectively, it's a turning of the tide, where I've lost half my forces, I enter in, I get a turn to try and, like, even things out before the other commander enters in.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Any other rules anyone can think of? I think that's pretty.
Use your non-dominant hand.
Left-handed anger.
Oh.
Left-handed anger.
I don't know. I can't think of much. I think that we did good.
Like levels of
I feel
Okay.
like if we get too particular, then they're going to want to say more, and we might end up shooting ourselves in the foot.
Yeah, I agree. The good news is I don't have to actually move to step into combat. I could just pull out my rifle.
Yeah. So,
And
Rikus, I
I-
will have you stand over here in between these 2 rocks, and he will stand over in this area as well. So you guys will be away from where the primary amount of the fighting is.
So I'm
In fact,
standing.
You know what we're gonna do? We're actually gonna move you guys closer.
Oh, I'm standing right here.
I'm gonna stand farther back over here, and I'm gonna have you guys move closer as well. That way you have more maneuverability both to your left and right.
So I've got to stand right, basically where I am.
We'll go another like 5 or 10 feet over that way.
Okay. Oh, my character's doing a thing.
He is doing a thing.
What is my character doing?
What is he
I think we both tried to move him at the same time.
Yeah.
DM, you said these guys are armed with great axes, no like bows or anything.
They do have a satchel of hand axes at their hip as well.
Damn it.
I.e.,
Oh, I did it. I fixed my token, I think.
Well,
No,
secure.
no.
Looks like we're frontlining again.
I can't move my token.
I can't.
Oh, there we go. What the fuck?
It'll go better this time.
It's alright,
Hopefully.
because we will
Anyways.
be ending our session here. However, before we do so, I will have us roll initiative.
Okay. Before we roll initiative, as I was kind of giving a group huddle on command, which I will pick up the first thing next session. I'll give out my short spew of commands before things start off to them in group huddle. But I am also going to hand out a few knickknacks, mainly being things like grenades.
Sweet.
In case people want to use them. Anyways,
I'm gonna have to remember how to, because I can roll initiative for all NPCs.
you
Indo,
highlight all of them, and then there should be. I think you would right-click them. Right-click
Again?
one of them, and there might be a button to roll all. You
There
do
we go.
have to.
I can do it pretty.
yo, I didn't do dog shit this
how do
time.
I roll in it? Again. How do I roll initiative again?
I do have it.
If you have your token selected, you can go to utility and roll initiative.
Utility, thank you. Oof. Didn't roll well.
Where's my initiative? I love having advantage on initiative.
Same here.
As I said.
That's a very good initiative, yeah.
I'm trying to do mine. I apologize.
No problem.
Okay.
Oh, I'm dumb. Oh my! Let's go.
Q, what the fuck?
Hey, you're fine. You're not last on the board.
Yeah,
You
someone has got a 1 too,
fuck!
right?
Splashed around in the water. Now
do
you
wanna
can't fucking walk.
It's bored. I don't roll this badly. Like legitimately, I've never rolled worse than in the Inexorables. Ever.
Oh no, you rolled
So
pretty
bad.
poorly on D&D Beyond as well. Alright, well, since I'm not needing to track initiative on my paper, we have initiatives rolled. So we're going to be starting with Rikus, followed by one of the barbarians.
Endo said we couldn't kill our enemies, but he never said we couldn't kill ourselves.
Surprise the enemy! Oh! I'm just imagining just like Rikus standing off to the side. I've been wanting to do it for a decade.
Well, no, he's giving us grenades, so it's like, well, I gotta take one of them with me.
I'm trying to see what else I have.
As we prepare for this combat against the Rigid Horde in a test to prove your strength and strategic capabilities to the Moon Giant, we are going to end this session. We're going to pick back up next Thursday with this fight and hopefully begin our trek back to Revedan by the end of that session. We're gonna
Remember,
end the
seek-
recording here.
Remember to seek
My-
help.